Hello, and welcome to Coffee on Korriban Live. And yes, I am, in fact, drinking from a fish. It's a very strange mug that I got for 25 cents. Or $1, whatever I paid for it. Basically nothing. I'm glad you guys are here tonight. Question of the day, before we even get started, is how has Disney changed in your mind? How is Disney now different from the Disney that maybe you grew up watching, or if you went to Disneyland like I did on a regular basis growing up? Like, how is the nostalgia of your childhood different from what you experience today with Disney? So go ahead and comment that down below, even if you're watching this after the fact and not live. Go ahead and put that down below. An announcement that we have for this channel and a few other channels is Movember. So obviously I have a mustache. That's right there. Matt Cave does as well. Mr. 2 Star Wars Nerds does. And we were thinking of doing Movember to raise money for a charity. Now, the charity that I have chosen is, oh boy, if I can get a mod. Man, already? Let's see, how do I do this? I'm going to continue. If some of you guys have your wrenches, then I would be appreciative of your help. Thank you, Matt Cave. We've lost a command post. But for Movember, we're going to be growing out our mustaches. Obviously, I already have mine for the entire month of November. And we will be having some mustaches on most of our streams to raise money for charities. The charities that I have selected is called Give an Hour, and it is a charity that provides mental health services for service members. So it's a cause that I'm passionate about, especially the mental health aspect of it. It's nothing I've talked about on YouTube, but it is something that I definitely have a heart for. So we will be doing mustaches on most of our streams to do that in the future, sometime next month. So I hope you guys will all stick around for that. But like we were talking about, how has Disney changed in your mind? This is what we're going to talk about. Obviously, Disney owns Star Wars now, so it impacts us as Star Wars fans. But Disney might not be the best company to make Star Wars. So we'll get into all that. Let me say hello to some people. First off, we got the Nerdporial Lifeform. Here's a sip for you. He says, Disney used to be the place of innovation and creativity, a place where dreams come true. Not anymore. Spot on, 100% spot on. And we'll get into this a little bit later when my guest arrives. In Disneyland, especially going on the rides and interacting with the characters and going in the shops and seeing all the locations, it was a place of innovation and creativity. I felt so creative there because it was just such a cool world. And now Disney is just about making money, at least the theme park is. And it feels like all their movies are just kind of rehashed old content. And I don't really know. We also got number 1 sci-fi. Here's a sip for you, good sir. We've got average, my dude. Here's a sip for you. Barliness. Here's a sip for you. I'm going to skip through a few people. And we got Tony in the chat here. Is this it for you? Thank you for watching. Matt Cave, here's a sip for you, of course. And then we got number 1 sci-fi says Disney has mainly grown bigger than ever, but obviously that doesn't mean they are better. Absolutely true. I don't think Disney has changed. I think their true colors are showing. They have been like this for a long while. They can take the gloves off and do what they want now compared to the past. Yeah, that's a good point. They are not having to silence themselves now with whether that be politics, which a lot of people focus on, or the quality of their content that comes out. but it's definitely starting to show. Mr. Two Star Wars Nerds, or Mrs. I don't know who, probably Mr. Yo buddy, good to see you. Here's a sip for you. Number one sci-fi says, as long as Favreau and Filoni are involved, then the shows that they do are really good. Yes, they have yet to fail us. Aside from 1 or 2 episodes of Mandalorian that I didn't care for, and the Martez sisters, but those are just personal issues that are not even anything wrong specifically with the content. So I'm going to go ahead and message my co-host to see where he's at. Where are you at? And Matt Cave, really appreciate it with the command post situation. I'm an official YouTuber now, apparently. Also, we are so close to 600 subs on this channel. So everyone that has subbed recently, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And the fact that you guys take time out of your day to watch the stuff that I make is pretty humbling and really cool to me. So thank you very much. The first topic we're going to get into, as I'm waiting for my co-host, is Disney is not the same. This is kind of what we've been talking about already, you guys in the chat. Disney is not the same. And yeah, thanks, dude. So why don't you guys comment down below? When was your childhood? What era of Disney specifically was your childhood? What movies did you really grow up watching? For me, it was The Lion King and A Bug's Life. And those were my childhood. And especially going to Disneyland, because we lived pretty close. We had annual passes. So Disneyland was my childhood. It's really sad to think about, because that Disneyland's not there anymore. The being able to go on a weekday and be pretty much the only person in the park, that's never going to happen again. And I'm a pretty emotional guy when it comes to some of that stuff. Like, even leaving California, there's like some restaurants that I figured, I'm probably never going to be eating at this place again ever in my life. It's a little bit sad. So you guys feel the same way about that kind of stuff? No word back from my co-host, but there he is, the dude, Mr. SusTea. How are you?
What is going on?
It's going.
That was very quick.
Quick for you? Or me starting?
Because I literally just clicked the link to join in, and you just like popped me in here.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome to the show. For everyone watching, this is SusTea. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he does have an awesome mug. Speaking of awesome mugs, did you see which one I'm drinking from tonight?
I saw that. That is so cool.
Look at it. It doesn't even have anywhere to put your fingers.
I know. It's just a fish.
It's just a fish. It's so weird and awesome. All right, let's see. We got some chats to catch up on real quick. Boy Steve says, I just respectfully disagree with the assumption that Dave and John are the end-all be-all of Star Wars. I genuinely love them like everyone else, but they are not the only minds that work in Star Wars. I do agree with that. I think the people that make John and Dave out to be the saviors and that they can do no wrong are deceiving themselves. And if there is content that comes out that maybe wasn't the best, those people might be pretty disappointed. I am really optimistic about the stuff that they're going to put out. But yeah, so they haven't let us down yet so far. Number one sci-fi says, I remember all the classic Disney movies like Snow White, Pinocchio, etc. I think I watched those era of movies once, but I didn't really grow up on them. So I don't really have that era of Disney nostalgia for me. Lion King is my favorite. It's such a good movie. But I also grew up with Pinocchio, Jungle Book, and Winnie the Pooh. Snow White, Little Mermaid, Pinocchio, Robin Hood, Jungle Book, Fantasia, and some others. Yeah, Fantasia for sure. Two Star Wars Nerds says, grew up watching the 70s, early 2000s, 70s to early 2000s Disney Pixar. Born in 92, though. Yeah, it's not too much older than I am. So I'm an old man watching all these things I grew up get remade. Yeah. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. That's something we can talk about a little bit later. But jumping back into the first topic for tonight, Disney's not the same. Would you agree?
100%. 100%. It's very different. And it's not necessarily all in a bad way or all in a good way, but it's very, very different from, the original, how we grew up watching, not only Disney movies, but,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars games before Disney took over. And the I know I'm kind of going off on a bunch of little rabbit trails, but a huge, huge important thing that I loved about Lego games is that they didn't talk. No one spoke.
Yes. Yes,
That was so
absolutely
cool.
correct. There's no talking. It's all the
right? Yeah.
And
And it tells the story by doing
Yes,
that. Yeah.
exactly. Yep. It's really nostalgic. The last time I played Lego Star Wars, the original, I was just freaking out about how awesome everything was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like, what are some ways that, what was Disney to you as a kid growing up?
Disney was, well, it's kind of funny. So Disney was watching the same, I think it was probably like 5 or 6 movies over and over and over because mom and dad would be at work.
Mhm.
And that's all we could do all day. Finish our homework and then watch
the same movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, what are some of those? Like, I don't even know. They were like a set 6 or 7 or something, but they were all really good. I could probably still recite them word for word.
Yeah. And it probably was because I was a kid. But what Matt Cave is saying, Disney went from being a business in the background to a business in your face.
True.
I didn't know anything about the business side of Disney at all. I just knew that was who made movies.
Yeah.
Right? That's the people that made movies. I wasn't too into DreamWorks or anything else. Like I didn't really even watch, Madagascar I saw once, but I didn't see any Shrek, didn't see any really Cartoon Network. It was just Disney because Disney was so wholesome. Disney was basically the epitome of wholesome.
It was I
think it's the case anymore.
Yeah, old Disney was forget everything around you and be a kid for this movie,
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, just what about Disneyland? Like what did Disneyland mean for you as a kid?
It was I really wish I could have remembered more about when we were going there as kids because we grew up there basically. Like we had passes, we used to live 20 minutes from it. Like we were right there. But the prices drastically went up. That's a huge thing. Like, cause it's like, what is it, like $400 for a season pass now, or like a year, or
they don't even have season passes anymore. It's just the day passes.
Yeah. So like, that's a huge thing. They used to be like $100 for a year.
Yeah.
Back when we were younger,
and we've been getting every single year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now it's like 500. Or
for
something like that.
2 days or something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's crazy. And yeah, and then them changing the rides, that was what I was not cool about.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. It's so, everything is so classic there. So classic, and that's what makes Disneyland, right? Yeah, Splash Mountain.
And we'll talk about Disneyland and our childhood a little bit more in the next segment, but Disney to me as a kid was, like you were saying, the movies that you watched. You just had the Disney movies. You had your Lion King, and mainly Lion King, and also Toy Story, just Tarzan. Oh,
Tarzan was your movie.
Little Mermaid was my Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid was your movie.
I was Ariel in the bathtub.
Oh, I remember. You sure were.
Absolutely.
Oh,
was.
Yes, you were.
But that was just, you want to watch a movie, you watch a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And there's not really anything questionable about them except for the few jokes that fly over the kids' heads.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was just something that you watched.
Mm-hmm.
And then, even when they started coming out with the more modern Pixar movies like Cars was fantastic. Still is an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
But just Disney just was the wholesome media provider.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Cave summed it up perfectly when he said that it was a business in the background, and the content and the the civilization basically of Disney was in the foreground to being like, oh, we're just a business and we make stuff and take your money. So I think that's a big difference. Star Wars Theology says, hello, passing by, love your coffee mug, using it every day. Really glad to hear that. SusTea's got his right there. Thank you for stopping by, Felix. Appreciate it. But I remember Star Tours at MGM Disney World. Yeah, Star Tours at Disneyland was the best ride ever. Going through the ice caves in Hoth. Do you remember that at all? Vaguely.
Wait, for where? Where are we talking?
For Star Tours.
Star Tours. Oh yeah.
On Hoth, you would fly through like the ice caves and have to break through the icicles. Yeah. So,
one thing that I'm actually very excited about, and we'll cover this more when we get later on, but what you were saying about how awesome Disney movies used to be, where it's sit down, watch a Disney movie, and just relax and just enjoy it, right? Yeah. I am so excited for when I have kids to experience that with them for their first time, and I'm sure you're already there.
Yes.
So it's like, how cool is that?
Yeah. Sophie just watched Cinderella earlier today.
Wow.
I was at work, so I missed it. But at the same time, getting home, asking her, like, did you see the dress? Wasn't that cool? Like, do you remember what the pumpkin turned into? It's called a carriage.
Right.
It's kind of like a wagon. You're right. Like, it's so fun to share all of that.
Yeah.
Fast forwarding some scary parts, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and I'm the same way with Star Wars. I'm really excited to have them learn about that for the first time as well. But at the same time, I wouldn't really feel comfortable watching the new Star Wars with her, or the new Disney movies, especially not the new Star Wars. Let's
right, yeah.
But the new Disney movies, like whatever they're coming out with, like there was that Echo movie or Onward, like a lot of weird stuff that's come out recently from Disney as far as like the actual kids movies, the animated kids movies that I just wouldn't want her to watch.
Yeah,
it's like we'll watch Tarzan and Little Mermaid and Lion King, and that's all you need.
Yeah, that's Disney.
So here's another question: does the nostalgia still exist for Disney?
Does the nostalgia? I'm sure for us it does. 100%. At least for me, like when I
well for the old stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I would say so. Hasn't left at all. It's obviously not as I don't know the right word, but it's not the same feeling as it used to be.
Right.
But it's still very similar in the sense that the movie's the same and it makes you feel the same while you're watching it. And if you go into it with the correct mindset of, I want to feel like a kid while I'm watching this, then it works.
It's a very melancholy feeling
now
of nostalgia.
Okay.
Yes. Especially when I think back to actual Disneyland, going in Disneyland.
Yeah.
It's very melancholy because sure, the nostalgia is there when I think back to, Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, Star Tours, the monorail, the train. Remember the dinosaur animatronics when you ride the train? Just like all that is so nostalgic, but it is very saddening because it doesn't exist anymore. A lot of those things.
You know what's I'm so upset about is that I don't know if they have already, but if not, they have plans that are set in stone to change Splash Mountain into something else. It's a different spin on Disney, some new movie or whatever.
Because of the racist Southern boat at the end of it and what they're singing about. And that boy Steve says, yes, look at how well these live action remakes of their classic animated movies are doing. Yes, but do they capture the same feeling? I don't know. The Jungle Book remake, I did enjoy. I liked it. I didn't have any nostalgia for the Jungle Book, really. I'd seen it once or twice as a kid. So that part didn't play any factor, in my opinion, of that movie, but I thought the movie was good.
Yeah, no, and it did follow the story pretty well. Like it didn't deviate that much like other live actions do. So
it added a few things.
Yeah. King Louis Huge was pretty epic.
That was remember watching that in VR? That was scary. When he reaches out for the bananas or whatever, that was pretty. Lion King remake looked amazing, but was missing all the heart. I didn't see it, so
I
I
did
wouldn't
see
know.
it.
But what I heard was pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number one sci-fi says the nostalgia is there for the old movies, but not the live remakes. Why do you guys think that is? Some might say it's because of all the woke politics that they're pushing into it. But I don't know. Do you think they're just trying to... Obviously, they're trying to profit off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They're trying to tell the story, but through the lens that they believe we want to watch it through. Crunch.
That's really good. I didn't have dinner, so.
All right, so let's talk about exclusively Disneyland. We kind of touched on it, but we'll give kind of some backstory to our situation with Disneyland. For those of you that don't know, we lived pretty close to Disneyland and would go there, at least once a week?
Yeah, we went there all the time growing up.
Probably once on the weekend and once during the week. And being homeschooled, it was awesome because my mom would take us there during the week when my dad was at work, and we would go on a ride, do our math homework, go on a ride, do our history homework, and just our school day was in Disneyland.
It was awesome. That was one of the coolest parts about being homeschooled.
Riding California Screamin', which is now Incredicoaster, I believe. Is that what it is, or is it something else?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah, California Screamin', and pulling back into the station, and like one more person would get on, and they would send us through again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There were days during the week that there was maybe 100 people in the entire park. That doesn't exist anymore.
I do remember that. Yeah.
That does not exist anymore. Let's see. Matt Cave says, I was curious what my son and daughter think about the shows and movies they watch now when they are teenagers. Will they have any nostalgia for this content? Probably. Because nostalgia is whatever you grow up with. When you're forming your own personhood, what are you watching? What are you listening to? What do you do? That's what's going to be nostalgia. There's stuff that's nostalgia for me that I look back and I laugh, but at the same time, it's got the same feeling. And that brings that back for me. Went to Disney World many times in the 90s and have not been back since. I probably would never go to Disneyland again in my life, which is part of that. It's really sad. And I know for a fact it's not going to be the same Disneyland I went to the last time I was there, which is sad. Going there almost every week for most of my childhood. And it's a place that I will never go back to and never could go back to. You remember the pin collecting?
Oh yeah, I still have mine. Literally, I can grab him right here.
Do you remember how we bought that like 100 pack off eBay, and most of them were like counterfeit
fake
pins?
Ones, yeah. No, I still got mine right here.
For anyone that doesn't know, if you go to Disneyland, and I'm assuming Disney World is the same, you see the cast members there with their lanyards and they have pins on them. You can go up and trade any pin that they're wearing for any pin that you have on you. And they're all official Disney pins, the same ones you could buy in the little gift shops that they have around the park. But a lot of them that you'll find in the circulation are old pins that they don't sell anymore. Like you'll find some like classic 70s pins or something. And what we did was we bought 100 pack on eBay, or my dad did because I was too young at the time. He bought the 100 pack of pins, and most of them were fake. They weren't like actual official Disney pins. They were like Mickey Mouse, but it happened to be on a pin or something. And we divided them up. We got like 15 pins each or something. We went to Disneyland and started trading. And then soon, like we started our own little collections. Like I all had like classic Mickey pins that I traded to.
You still have those?
It's so funny because we would go up to cast members and being like, "Oh, can I see your pins?" All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And they would have pin trading day, which I believe was on Thursdays. Verlina says there's a lot of fake Disney pins. I would imagine so. But the pin traders were pretty stingy about what they would be willing to trade for.
Except for that one. You remember that one? I was probably like 8 years old or something, right? So I was just a little kid. And I was looking through the giant books that they have, right? The Pin Trader books, like probably like thousands of pins in there. And I saw one that was pretty cool. It was like a Mickey crash course thing with like a bunch of dummies, and they're all in a car. The one I just showed. And I was like, "Oh, this one's so cool. What would you trade for it?" And I hold up my pins, and they're like, "Nothing." I'm like, oh, "Okay." And then like 10 minutes later, they came over to me. And they're like, "Here, you can have it." I was like, "What?" So I got to keep it.
Yeah, it was funny. It's like, I like that one. Do you want anything?
Yeah, right.
Do you want all of them?
You want to? Yeah, right. That's basically how it went.
Before the dark times, before the Mouse Empire. Yeah, pin trading was fun, and the rides were fun. Pirates was the best ride because of the smell.
The
Do you remember that
smell?
smell?
Yeah, it's the best.
The smell of mold.
Yeah, it's the best ever. It's so good. And the
Yeah.
feel and the temperature in there and everything.
Oh, especially on a hot day, you wait in line for like 30 minutes.
In the hot
And then
sun
you
outside.
finally get inside, and it's the mold smell, and it's cool and damp, and you sit in the
Oh.
boat, and there's water on the seat, so now your pants are wet.
Yep. It's so good. It's so good.
That was our childhood, and it's like I said, we're not gonna get it back.
Yeah.
If I get the chance, obviously, I'm gonna go back and see what it's up to. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of sad. When do you think that Disney started changing? Matt Cave, you can chime in. I'm going to send you the link in case you'd like to jump in as well and join in on this. When did Disney start changing?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You're not
it was
fun
just
anymore. It's treason then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just. I mean, it's been a long time since we were younger, and we had that feeling. But like, it wasn't overnight. It was a course over a course of many years that it changed. You know.
Yeah. In what ways do you think it changed mostly?
Obviously, the feel. The movies are so different from the movies we grew up with as kids. Like, it's not even. Like, it doesn't matter that they're different characters or storyline or anything. It's not even like the same feel of a movie. You know, it's like very, very different.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's a huge one.
I mean, you picture Lion King. I'll just use that as an example because that is probably the most perfect animated movie that's ever been made. I don't know if you would agree with that, Matt Cave, about Lion King.
There it is.
Oh, there
Lion King's my all-time favorite animated Disney film.
It's easily top 5 animated movies ever made.
Yeah.
There's very few things that you could critique it on. And I think the reason that was so successful and why it has such a special place in so many people's hearts is because there wasn't any focus on message or appeal to that modern group of people. It was, this is the story, we're going to tell it beautifully.
Yeah.
And that was their focus for that movie.
That was,
I think that's why it was so amazing.
With a moral without shoving it in your face.
Yes, exactly. You don't need to tell people to live a certain way. You need to appeal to that part of people that we all agree with. Like, I don't know. The moral of Little Mermaid is what? Don't disobey your parents.
With the dude. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I've tried to avoid that my whole life. So.
I'm doing pretty good so far.
But you picture the morals in those movies. It's not like they're instructing us on how to live our lives. They're appealing to that part of us that we all agree and know is true. And I think that's something that the movies nowadays don't really do very well. Because obviously we got to be nice to people, but when you're like almost patronizing your audience for not doing that. So that's one aspect.
Movies back then, it was left up to the audience to take from it what you're going to take from it. Everyone puts themselves in the characters that they feel it. But now movies, like you said, movies and TV shows now, they tell you what you should be feeling about this and who you should connect to and all this. And it's like, why? There's no need for that.
Yeah.
It used to be easy to relate to all the characters in the movie, and you could, pick that specific character and be like, oh, I felt that before, and that's why we like those certain kind of movies. And
Yep.
I want to say once they bought Marvel, once they bought them, they expanded big time. Comics, lots of movies, games, etc. It was the beginning of the Mongolian Empire. It's a business in the foreground at this point, as you were saying earlier. They say, okay, let's get Marvel and let's get National Geographic and Lucasfilm, and we got this, and look how much money we can make.
I think Lucasfilm, the acquisition of Lucasfilm, is what tipped the scale off the table. It was just like, that's it. We're everything.
Right. It was collectively, they're like, we're the best. We could make a lot of money off of this, which is, again, what we were talking about before with the sequels. Star Wars name brings in fans. Marvel cinematic storytelling is what the people want. And that's what they went for.
I don't mind what Disney did with the Marvel movies.
Wait. I forgot the nostalgia. I forgot the... Just douse it. Fan service. Here you go.
But wait till it's out and cold, then dump it on.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Okay, you want to fill me up?
I wish I could. I'd be sharing coffee with everyone.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, things are never going to go back to the way that Disney was. And it's sad.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's too big. And I mean, that leads us kind of into the next thing I wanted to talk about is, what is Disney now? They're an empire, of course, one of the top biggest companies in the world. I mean, I saw something that was actually really funny. It was a YouTube channel. I believe it was Filmento. It's a channel that goes over like screenplay and writing for movies and stuff. And it was a poll, and it said, what is the best modern film studio? And Disney was in the lead at like 40 something % of the vote from that poll. A lot of people voted, a couple thousand people voted on that poll. And then a couple days later, there was another poll from that same channel that said, what is the worst modern film studio? And it was Disney again in first place, which is very interesting. And I think that says a lot about how the people feel, kind of in the vein of they're good at what they do for the most part, but they don't have their stuff all together, and there's some major issues with how they approach filmmaking these days.
Yeah. So for me, back in the day, the version of Disney money grab were the direct to VHS sequels. You know, like there was like 3 more Aladdin movies. There was a bunch of Jungle Books. There was a bunch of stuff. Never theatrical for the most part. There was the occasional, and that's what we were just kind of used to. And
Lion King 2, Lion King 1.5.
Yep. Which actually are probably 2 of the best out of the bunch of sequels.
I didn't even see them. There's so many I didn't see.
Lion King 1.5 is worth seeing. That's actually a lot of fun.
Okay.
But that's like, we kind of, as the audience back then, it was like, all right, I know I'm not getting as good of what we saw the first time around, but hey, whatever, I'll rent it.
So how do those compare in your eyes with the remakes that we're getting now?
The sequels versus the live action remakes?
Just those old movies and how they used to do carrying on a franchise versus now when they remake them or retell them.
The biggest issue I find with most remakes now is if they keep the heart of the film. So going back to Lion King, that was my all-time favorite Disney film and still is. So I was psyched when the remake was announced because I really enjoyed Jungle Book. I thought it was really good. So I was like, oh, cool. Now we're going to get that style with the Lion King. And then they announced James Earl Jones reprising Mufasa. I was like, it's going to knock it out of the park. And I took my son to the theater to see it. And he loved it. He had a great time watching it. And I came out really disappointed and sad because I was like, you read the lines. I'll give you that. But I didn't feel anything.
Yep.
And that was what was missing.
Exactly the same way I kind of felt when the dark side of the Force is a pathway some consider to be unnatural. It's like, yeah, I mean, there's like a little tiny tinge of nostalgia in that, but I mean, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
One remake, can I say, that is actually pretty good, that in my personal opinion, I thought was really good, was the Aladdin. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. The Aladdin remake was not terrible. Yeah. They could have improved on the songs that they did or done them better, more like the original movie. But other than that, story was on it. The actors were really good at playing who they were supposed to be. And I mean, it just kind of, that was the most recent movie, can I say, that made me almost feel like I was watching the original again.
Yeah,
I didn't see it, but now I think I have to.
It was really good. Out of the live action ones, I think that's probably the best so far.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I didn't like their version of Jafar so much, but everyone else. The thing I love the most about that one is that Will Smith was not trying to be Robin Williams.
Thank you.
He made it his own.
True.
But you know what he did? He had those little references here and there. This I'm honoring what.
Well, they were more of homages.
Yes,
it wasn't copying. It wasn't trying to be. Yeah. Not that I've seen the movie, but I'm agreeing with you on the point. Like that makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Disney may have went from a mom and pop store to a corporate conglomerate, but if people besides you enjoy the content, does it matter? Not from a business standpoint. From a nostalgia standpoint, yeah, it affects some of us. From a business standpoint, they're probably exactly where they want to be. And I don't blame them, honestly, as a business.
That's the thing. There's always going to be the business side of these things. And I've always understood that, but it's never been so in our face the way it is now. Because when it really hit me of how bad it was when my son started asking me about certain things of like, well, when will Disney be buying this? And are they taking over that? And I'm like, you're 9.
Yeah.
Why is this even on your mind? You should be enjoying this. So that's why when I posed my question before, is like, will they even have any nostalgia for this stuff when they're older?
That's a good point.
It's weird
because it's a business in the foreground, and our kids are going to know that. They're not going to know Disney as what you watch. They're going to know Disney as a company that made some movies.
Yeah, I mean,
that Disney, is a big difference.
I think it was like Thursday nights on ABC. It was Disney movie night. Tinkerbell would come out and light up the thing where they're on, and then a movie came on, and we'd watch like Flight of the Navigator.
Too much bad behavior from Disney and Hollywood, in my opinion. Hollywood is corrupt. From just my plebeian perspective, what I can see, it is completely corrupt, and I would not want anything to do with it. People tell me all the time that my daughter could be a model or an actor or something, actress, acting person, I guess. I wouldn't want her to at all.
Yoda?
Yes. People just say like she looks like a model baby and she could be like a perfect model or in commercials or whatever, but I wouldn't want her in that at all. Some of the stories I've heard of, obviously every child actor, we know how they all turn out.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with casting agents and talent people and stuff, and I wouldn't dare put my daughter through any of that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's such a weird world to live in with stuff like that. And the fact that we're in the generation of social media and just everything is out there. There's no magic anymore. I don't know how else to describe it. Like there was so much wonder back in the day of how things were done and what's going on behind the scenes, and that's all you could do was just wonder.
Yep.
But now,
same thing with Disneyland. Going in there when I was a kid, you'd go in there, you ride a ride, you sit on a bench for 2 hours, and it's amazing. You don't go there for the rides. If you want to go to the rides, you go to Six Flags. You just go there and
experience.
Exactly. And the last time I went to Disneyland, which was admittedly not very recently, it was, when did we go to Disneyland last? Before we got married, so probably a good 5 years ago, 5.5, 6 years ago. And it was starting to get different. You could tell it was, the wonder was starting to disappear, not just because I was getting older, but because that wasn't the focus. The focus was get people in, have them buy stuff, get them out. And now the whole thing, I don't know if you heard about the Star Wars Land rides where the people, you have to like sign in on the app at like 7 a.m. to hope to get a spot in line for some of these rides.
Wow.
And like you pay however many hundreds of dollars to go to Disneyland for 2 days, and you can't even ride the 2 rides that you want to because it's too crowded.
It's just too crazy, man. You know, my last experience with the theme park was my honeymoon with my wife back in 2008, and we had an amazing time. It was a wonderful trip.
Yeah.
But we got to experience the park different than the normal experience because we had set up the whole package and everything. They knew that we were newlyweds. They like had us like jump to the front of like everything.
Yeah.
It was also the beginning of September, so it wasn't all that crowded at all. School had started back up and stuff like that, so we basically had run of the parks. We got to go on everything.
Yeah.
And now seeing all these experiences that people are having now, like I'll sit down, I'll watch park hopping with, you know, Drunk 3PO and everything, just seeing what's going on in those parks. I'm like, this kind of gets crazy.
Yeah.
On some days.
Yeah, it really does. And I remember when a line that was 45 minutes long was like, oh, might as well not even go on that ride today. I mean, we took my dog on a bunch of rides because she was a service dog.
Yep.
Nice.
She went on Pirates.
She went on Pirates. She went on Autopia. She went on a bunch of stuff.
Toontown, all that kind of stuff.
She went on a bunch of stuff. And another thing we would do was with my sister. She's deaf in one ear, but because she had a disability, they'd just take us to the exit and we just get on the ride.
Wow.
Like I don't think that would fly these days unless you're like in a wheelchair missing like 2 eyes, both eyes.
When we went with mom, when I went with mom, I would go with her and Pam, which is my aunt, and my cousin. So there were 4 of us. And since my mom is technically disabled, she would use a wheelchair and I would wheel her around all day. And then we just go exactly the same as how we used to do it with Allie. We would just go to the back of the line and we'd wait like 5 minutes, and it was awesome.
Yep. The Genie Plus app, is that like Fast Pass but on app form? Because I remember when we went there, they had Fast Pass. You would go and put your card, your annual pass in the machine, and it would spit out a thing for the time that you would come back and cut the line. So you could wait in line essentially while going on other rides. Yeah. I don't know what the Genie Plus app is. With a new reservation system, it makes it difficult to plan a trip months in advance. Yeah, and that's what I've heard is people that want to go to ride Rise of the Resistance or whatever the main newest ride is, you can't, because there were people that would, wake up at 6 a.m. and it says, oh, you can't reserve your spot in the line until the park opens. As soon as it's 7 o'clock, they go to reserve. Oh, it's full for the day. And there's zero chance you can get on the ride for the day. I've heard that from a few people.
So that's just insane, because I would love to take my kids to to see all that Star Wars stuff. I want to see it, you know, but
Right.
I'm not going to go all the way down there
Mm-hmm.
to just be told no.
I'm going to hold out hope that the craziness for Star Wars Land will die down in the future when my daughters are old enough to enjoy it. And then we'll make a trip to Disney World because we're closer to that now. And see what happens. But again, that wonder and the magic and the nostalgia might not be there for them.
You know
I don't
the
know.
feeling of walking from Main Street into Adventureland over the little bridge? That is the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what also is the coolest thing ever?
Mm-hmm.
Getting your free sourdough bread samples.
Yeah, over and over, and swapping jackets and then swapping hats, and they would never know, you know?
Putting on glasses and just for the free samples.
Or going
what I used to do is I would go to the bread factory. This is in California Adventure, by the way, at Disneyland. They had a sourdough bread factory because it's all like California stuff.
Best sourdough I've ever had in my life.
It's really good. But I would go, they would give you out free samples of sourdough bread, and the slices of bread were, about that big. We would go through wearing different clothes and stuff and getting a bunch of bread, loading it up in bags. I would go over to the other side of the park where they had a restaurant where you would buy the burger, and then they had like a bar where you put on the lettuce and tomato and whatever. I would put all the toppings on my free bread, and it would basically be like a bunch of free sandwiches just without meat. And then we would, because waters are free. The drinks are expensive, but the waters are free. We'd get waters and bring those like flavor packets. So I would have my lemonade and my free sandwiches and never have to pay for anything. Plus, they would give you a full bag of tortillas on your birthday. So we would go and tell them it was our birthday every time. And we'd have the birthday pins.
It was that was so awesome. The bread, especially since you go to the back of the bread, building, and you can buy a loaf for, I think it used to be like $5. You could buy a loaf, and we would bring like little pieces of salami, and like cost us like $5 at the store, right? And so we'd go and we'd have sandwiches for the whole day, spending $5 for the loaf of bread. Amazing.
Nice.
Last time I was at Disney World, I remember Star Tours and the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids set. Yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was what it was called. At least in Disneyland. Oh, yeah. The Magic Key has replaced the annual passes, and based on what I see from Disneyland YouTubers, they have difficulties getting in due to the blockout days because of the Yeah, that's another thing I noticed is when they started moving that direction, the passes were not only more expensive, but the blockout dates were way more frequent. It used to be, like 2 months in summer and then Sundays for most of the passes. But then if you got the ultimate pass, it was any day of the year, no blockout dates. So that's pretty sad to hear. It's sad for me now that you bring it up. Will my kids have that same nostalgia for Disney movies, Disney as a company in general?
Yeah.
And
that's why I show my kids so as much as I can of the shows and movies that I grew up with. Like I'm on a pretty good run with my son, especially him being the older one. And I mean, like just to kind of give you an idea of things I'm showing him lately, like just the other night, not that it's Disney, but I showed him the movie Encino Man with Brendan Fraser. I grew up with that, him and Pauly Shore and everything, and he loved it. I'm like, because I can't find. So, okay, tonight he showed me a movie that he watches on Disney Plus. And it was, I forget what it's called, but it's about zombies. And the world had a apocalypse, and then like there's a big wall, and zombie people live on this side. Not zombies live on this side, but then it's about bringing the worlds together because, the zombies aren't bad. They wear bracelets that make them okay. But it was like, yeah, right? It was fine. So I was like, okay, it's Disney. Let me see what's going on. And then it has its musical moments and everything. But the whole thing was so cringy, and it was so in your face with like social justice, politics, and I was like, this is a kids movie right now
Yeah.
that like they're just shoving this message down your
Yes.
throat. I
and
got up
not
and
to
left.
get too political. I'm firm in my political and moral beliefs. I don't waver on those. I don't like to really talk about them, especially not publicly, because it just most of the time just creates drama. And I'm not interested in just creating drama for the sake of it. Like if we want to have a legit conversation about politics, I'm down for that, just not publicly. But to kind of touch on that, all the stuff that they're putting in Blue's Clues and Sesame Street, and I don't know, even, Dora the Explorer, all the stuff that they're putting in those shows nowadays, I don't even feel comfortable showing my daughters any of that.
Yeah, we watched
with
the older
the
ones.
stuff they're putting in now. Yeah, that's what I would do.
We watched Steve on Blue's Clues. It's, my daughter prefers it. I was like, okay, cool. We watched the old Sesame Street because they're all on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is great.
And that's why I don't post on Facebook ever, because I have like 30 friends and I don't do anything on Facebook except for look for stuff on look for fish mugs on the marketplace.
What is there to do other than that?
My fish mugs is life. But
seriously,
but I posted something the other day. It was just hashtag abolish public schools. To kind of see if anyone would comment, and no one did, because like I said, I only have like 30 friends on there. But that's kind of one of my unpopular opinions, is I'm not putting my daughters in public school. I don't think that I don't know. I don't think public schools should be a thing. I think they're more trouble than the benefits they provide. And I know for some people they're easy, and if people do put their kids in public schools, I don't blame them or think that they're doing anything bad or whatever. It's just personally for me, I wouldn't. Kind of along the same lines, especially having worked in a public school, I know a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and the management of public schools is something I can't agree with. So
it's even that, just like Disney, just like media, public school is not what it used to be.
Right.
And
I never went to public school. I was homeschooled 1st through 12th. So I never went there, but being a substitute teacher opened my eyes to, oh my gosh, this is what school is like. I'm so glad I was spared from this. Yeah. And it could have just been, I was in a really bad area in California when I worked as a sub, but I don't know. Not something I'm going to put my kids through in the future when we have the option of homeschooling. That's important to us.
Yeah. I obviously, I was homeschooled my whole life too. But if I ever had to go to public school, I really wish I could have gone in the 80s. Like, that is so cool, right? Like, I just finished watching Cobra Kai not too long ago. It is so sick. Like, I would have been the coolest generation to grow up in.
Let me shed some light on this for you. Like, okay, I would imagine you'd look at school in the 80s and even to the early 90s like to look like The Breakfast Club or something like that. Have you seen The Breakfast Club? Okay.
Okay, wait, don't hate me. You imagine you're like, okay, I gotta go.
Which is, by the way, a movie that can never be remade because it literally will not work now. But school portrayed from the 80s and 90s. Okay, do you know Saved by the Bell? I'm gonna vomit. Maybe we need a different topic.
Basically, you want to be a part of the 80s because you have no idea what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's very stylized, but don't get me wrong. I was in public school my whole life, and there were things that were on the side of just pure awfulness, but there was more amazing stuff. Like it was when I was in school, it was like you had like these different groups and everything, right? But then like everybody kind of merged at some point. Like it wasn't like you see in TV and movies where it's like, oh, all the jocks are over there and all the geeks are, you know, and nobody talks to each other. Like it wasn't like that. I was friends with like everybody, and I was like in every group, and there were a lot of assumptions made about me
Yeah.
because of the people I hung out with. But it was just like we felt like it was like our own little world, and we were allowed to grow as people, and it wasn't this ridiculously structured thing that it is now. Like I see what look, there was no such thing as participation trophies and stuff like this. There was winning and losing. We had competitions. We did, you know, at the end of the day, it was like sometimes you went home a loser. You know, it's like, but it was fine because you learned from it. Now it's just everything gets handed to younger generations, and I'm just like, you gotta earn your way. And that's what we learned back in school. And I see with my son in school what he's going through. So I try to teach him things like, look, don't just expect this to be handed to you. Don't look for shortcuts. Earn your way. And you're going to feel better about yourself about it. You're going to learn from it. You're going to be a better person.
Yeah. Another thing that I have an issue with public schools is there is so much focus on getting kids from the high school into college. That's all their focus is. It's mandatory. You have to apply to a certain amount of colleges. You have to get accepted before you graduate. And there's no room for any discussion of, well, what if so-and-so doesn't want to go to college? What if they want to go into this trade or this field of study that doesn't require a degree from a university? I mean, I'm not using my bachelor's degree right now with what I'm doing. I'm glad I have it because I don't owe any money on it. So I didn't take out any student debt, but like thinking if I had like 60 grand or something that I still owed for my degree, I would be kind of bummed about that. And I know people that went that route, and it's like, yeah, you got your college experience, but like, are you using your degree and stuff? And I know for my daughters, I'm not going to push them to go and get a degree. If they want to go do something like nursing or dentistry or math, I don't know. Like if they want to go into something that requires a degree and they're passionate about it and they're good at it, yes, go do that. I will support you. But I'm not going to be like, I want you to get into this school and this is really important, because I believe as women, they're called to be mothers ultimately. So, I mean, that's my wife's job of raising him that way. But, but there is so much of a forced mentality to go to school. You have to go to school, otherwise your life is a failure, that I saw in the schools that I didn't really agree with. That's the last thing about public schools and my rant against them.
No worries, man.
Dude.
Hello, Father.
Hello, Father Time.
I sent you the logo that I made him, right?
No, you didn't. Did you make the one you sent me earlier?
Yeah. I made all of those. Do you want me to make you one? It takes like 5 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, do it.
Matt Cave, I'm going to make you one too because I can.
Rock and roll, man.
Yeah, maybe he'll even use that for his channel icon.
That would be pretty sick. Here, this is the one I can share.
Speaking of logos, I think your latest iteration for your banner is pretty darn good.
Thanks, man.
It's in a good spot.
Appreciate it. I felt good about that one. I was like, you know what? I think this is where I want this to be.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's that. I mean, it's very simple. It's not that crazy, but this is what I made him. Right.
Esports coach. I like it.
I like that.
This is the one I made for me right here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This is one that I made for Tyler.
Susbeard. That's dope.
Nice.
I got this one for... Oh, wait, that's the same one. And then I got this one for Michael, too. But I made a bunch of those for all my friends, so I literally don't mind. It takes like 5 seconds if you guys are interested.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, I love that. That's cool, man.
You just got to get me like a animal or symbol or something to work with.
Retro gaming. That's his
Retro
thing.
gaming.
I got you.
And if you don't mind a
hit him
quick...
with your catchphrase.
Ooh. I've been ending my videos with, remember, keep retro gaming alive, because one day your games will be retro too.
Send me that right now, and I will put that in there.
That's pretty
Send
awesome.
me that on Discord.
That's pretty awesome. That boy Steve says the only issue I have with Disney is their lack of Blu-rays for recent Star Wars things. They need to release the Clone Wars Season 7 and Mandalorian on home video. Yeah.
Yeah, they will eventually. It will land on the hard copies. It just takes some time now with those things.
But that means that the people that watch Disney Plus for that, they'll lose their subscription.
That's the thing, yeah.
Oh, Matt,
so they're going to wait a while.
What's that?
I said you got to give me colors too. Give me 2 colors.
Oh,
retro colors.
Yeah, okay. I kind of went with like a yellows and red and black on my my logo.
I got you.
And by the way, just a quick selfish plug here. The Matt Cave merch store is up and running. And I actually ordered all the samples of everything I have, and I'm going to do a review of my own merch on my channel to let people know how good the quality is.
You have a mug?
I got a mug. I got a pint glass.
I'm
I got
order
a pillow.
I'm ordering that as soon as this is over.
I got shirts.
Oh, you know I got to get that mug.
The mug I got, I tried to be a little creative with it. There's a flip side to it. That's cool.
That's awesome. Last kind of topic that I wanted for us to cover tonight is the mouse. Basically, does the mouse ruin everything it touches?
Yeah.
Let's think of some examples. Star Wars, obviously, the sequels we've almost talked it to death, although we still have to have our bashing stream. I'm just putting off watching the movies. We'll get to it soon.
We will. We'll get there.
But should Star Wars? Here's a question: should Star Wars separate from Disney? If you had the power to do that, would you take the reins from Disney?
I would give control. I would want Lucasfilm to go back to being an independent film company the way it was, where people were allowed to be inspired, where creativity was something that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize this, because they look at, Lucasfilm, like back in the day, it's like, one of the biggest things, whatever. I was like, it's big, but it's the biggest indie film company out there.
It's a good point.
It's going to Skywalker Ranch, and you hear from all these filmmakers that had the opportunity to go there and make anything. They talk about how wonderful that experience was, and it just that's gone now. You're not going to Skywalker Ranch and doing all this stuff. You're going to a studio wherever.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, there's some cool stuff. Watching that making of Mandalorian with the volume, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. There's a lot you could do with Disney money.
Yeah. And that's another thing, is some people might argue that Star Wars is better off with Disney because of the money. And I would say to them, budget doesn't dictate quality at all. Right. Napoleon Dynamite is story-wise fantastic quality. Arguably a poor movie, but I don't know. That budget was almost zero.
Yeah,
for that movie.
And
they filmed,
was a
I think, in
project.
They filmed that whole thing in like either 23 or 43 days. I forget. Basically a month. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. A passion project, same as the original Star Wars. And those didn't have the biggest budgets.
And that's when you let someone's ideas and creativity shine. That's the focus. That's what comes through in the product. Disney back when it was announced that Disney was the one purchasing Lucasfilm, I was excited. I was like, look what's going on with Marvel at this time. It was right in its infancy. I was like, but you know what? They got a good thing going, because I felt good about it, because they were letting Marvel do their thing. But for whatever reason, as soon as Star Wars was acquired, Disney had their hands in it immediately, and they were stirring the pot. And I don't know why. What was different?
Well, they jumped the gun.
Mm-hmm.
They knew they had the money in the bag, and they wanted to. I don't know. They just wanted to be a part of it and claim it for their own. In response to, does Disney ruin everything? Steve says no. If it was truly a franchise destroyer, they'd be out of business. Disney is doing something right if people keep buying their stuff. To an extent, I agree with that. How much money did the sequel trilogy bring in? A lot.
Mm-hmm.
But guess where a huge chunk of their income is? Toys. And guess what's not selling? Sequel toys.
Yeah.
So,
George Lucas keeping those merchandising rights and everything back in the day, that was one of the smartest things anyone has ever done.
Yes. And another aspect to this is just because those movies specifically were popular doesn't mean that the franchise was left alive, because it could have a huge impact on who's going to be watching Star Wars for the next 5 years. You know, when they do come out with another movie, if they do in the future, how many people are not even going to want to go see it because of what happened during the other movies, which is honestly probably what happened with Solo. Rogue One was still right after The Force Awakens, and people were still hyped about it. Rogue One came out, and thank goodness it was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other two movies came out, or the other one, The Last Jedi, and Solo just didn't do well because people felt like they weren't getting anything special.
Yeah.
Boring Star Wars.
Yeah, that's like, the sequels they're great to look at. They're well made. It's like, it's not that they're not bad movies. They're poorly written, unplanned stories.
Yes.
And if your story is not good, and no matter how many flashing lights and everything you put on that screen, it's still going to be,
And I said this walking out of the theater from The Rise of Skywalker. I have never been more conflicted viewing a movie. I don't even know how it's possible to have enjoyed something so much and disliked it so much at the same time.
Yep.
Because I hated The Rise of Skywalker, but I had fun watching it.
It entertained me. That was the thing. It was fun to look at. It was like getting a shiny new toy, and it was like this whole thing. But it just, I don't know. I hope that a new film happens. I know they're supposed to be doing the Rogue Squadron one. Now, that's going to be set in New Republic. I wish it was Rogue Squadron. Like, that's not back in the day. But I get it. Go with the New Republic. But they can make a good film. It could be well done. But I'm concerned that box office will be hit at the start until word gets out of whether or not it's good.
Yeah. And I'm really thankful for The Mandalorian, because I feel like it brought in so many people who may have never even watched any Star Wars before. And if all of a sudden there's this Baby Yoda, what's this all about? Oh, it's this really good show you got to check out. And I'm pretty sure it brought in a lot of people that had never seen any Star Wars before, which is awesome. But at the same time, it's the same group of people that say, oh, why do you guys hate these 3 movies? I don't see anything wrong with them. So,
question real quick. Matt Dave, can you say that phrase one more time?
Remember, keep retro gaming alive, because one day your games will be retro too.
That's so good. That encapsulates what your channel's about so well.
That's what it does. We're in a time where retro gaming is actually a thing that can fade away. It's tough for not just people who want to actually play this physical media. It's tough for collectors right now. The market for collecting in the world of video games is getting a little out of control. There's a lot of things being exploited, and pricing is going astronomical. So, but I'm not really a collector. Like, I use all this stuff. Right. But
And I think also because you're doing your series going through the Resident Evil games, you're playing the original game and then the remake, the original game 2, then the remake 2. I think that's something you should keep going with future game franchises when you stream them, because that's basically what your channel is about, is bridging the gap between stuff that you might have played when you were younger and stuff that the kids are playing now, and comparing them. It's really cool to see that, because when William Birkin shows up, you're like, oh, he looks so much cooler in this version.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
But there's a
I
deep
love
respect for the original games.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. And that's what, and I like that idea of doing that with other things, because there's plenty of game franchises that did that. There's thanks, man. That there's remakes too. So there's a whole world I can dive into it. Because that's the thing. I'll always love those original games, but there are things in these remakes that I'm like, yeah, you nailed it, or the opposite end of where, oh, I wish you would have done this, but I appreciate it, and it's fun.
Right.
I'm so glad that people are coming along for that journey.
It's fun. It's a whole lot of fun, because like I said, I don't know anything about the lore of that series, and asking you questions about, like, oh, so when does this take place, and does that mean that this group of people is involved in this? And it's cool learning about that stuff from both time periods at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Wait until you see the remake of 3. Your jaw is gonna drop a couple of times.
William Birkin, eh?
Birkin. I'll never give up, G.
William Birkin. More like the ultimate failure.
What is this?
Don't die.
Dude, it's so... I gotta make some kind of a montage video of the dialogue.
Just the worst quotes. Yes.
Okay. I have finished Matt Cave's design.
Ooh.
And hear me out. No pressure, because this took like 5 seconds. No pressure if you do not like it, or if you don't want to use it, or if you want me to tweak it. Again, this is all within like 5 seconds. So here it is. Let me know what you think. Or if you don't even like it at all, I want you to be 100% transparent.
I promise to be honest.
Okay.
I love the Game Boy. Dude, that's awesome.
You have to put that on a shirt or a poster or something.
Dude,
that's cool.
Sick, man.
Here, zoom in on that. Zoom in on it.
How does one? Okay.
Hold on.
Hold on.
That was the opposite.
Yeah, right. All right, hold on. This will make it easier.
Let me take a look at this.
It's opening. Come on, please. There we go. I mean, this is bad quality because but for the purpose of...
That's so cool.
That's
I love
awesome.
the color grading from top to bottom too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how it goes. See, because that's the thing, like with that color tone, that's where you captured the generation I grew up in. The late 70s into the 80s, and then moving into the 90s. Like everything had like kind of a dulled look to it, like Atari style. That's great.
Okay,
I really like that, man. That's awesome.
For sure. I will send it to you on Discord. Any tweaks? You want to do anything different with it?
Put like the letter M instead of a plane on the Game Boy.
Ooh, can it be like an 8-bit looking M?
Yeah, let me see if I can
kind of
that would be dope.
Or almost like Tetris piece
sweet.
Style. Like, can you make it out of Tetris pieces?
Oh, let me see.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Dude, I played so much Tetris on the Game Boy. Me and my buddy, we had the link cable, so we'd connect our Game Boys together and play them in the car. Oh man!
Have you ever seen the pro Tetris players? How fast they are,
dude! It's insane.
Disgusting how fast they are.
There's people that look. I think I'm an all right gamer. I'm nothing great at. I don't speed run anything. Right. It's just, but man, seeing what some people do with these games, I'm like, man, and people who actually sit there and find, oh boy, I'm 39 on my way to 40.
You're in your 30s. Oh
yeah,
wow.
we can still say it.
I'm 26. SusTea's like 15.
Yeah, I'm 15. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't see a beard, so
That's true.
Are you gonna grow out your
Went there.
Are you gonna grow out your stash for Movember?
Movember? Did you say Movember?
Yes,
Oh, what is that?
it's Movember. Are you gonna grow out your stash
Yeah.
for Movember?
At the moment, no.
It's never too late to get started. I mean, too soon to get started.
It's never too late to get started.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no, you can be late. It was just, yeah. My Game Boy came with Tetris. Tetris is
That's
one of
cool.
my favorites of all time. That's the NES port was one of my go-to games. I was actually just playing that the other day.
The only console cool thing or game system cool piece that of like trivia that I experienced was for the Xbox 360. It had been out maybe a year, and then we were gonna get one, but we didn't want the 30 gigabyte one, the one that came with like the 30 gig hard drive, which is tiny compared to today's standards. But it was that one, or you could buy the like 128 gig or 120 gig like expanded hard drive for it. But they had just come out with the Xbox 360 with the 60 gigabyte hard drive that came with it. And it was all in the stores, but they weren't selling them for like another week. And we went to all the stores to see if they would sell them from us because they're in the case behind the glass. We're like, hey, can we buy that one? And they're like, oh no, we can't. The release date for that is next week. We can't. You can pre-order it. And then we went to Target. And we're like, can we get that one? Well, sure, here you go. And they sold it to us. So we had the first Xbox 360 60 gigabyte in the country a week before it was released.
That's awesome.
And it made no difference as far as the gameplay. It was just pretty funny. I think you still have that 360, don't you?
I do, yes.
That's funny.
That's great.
And it still works.
Nice.
Yes, it does.
I also have a PS2 that still works.
Wait,
I got my PS2
last time I
here.
was over, we played Rock Band on it, didn't we?
The 360?
Rock
Yeah.
Band.
Yes, we did.
Rock Band 2 was my game.
We played so much Rock Band. We have videos of all our friends playing Rock Band at parties here down in the Mac Cave. And I remember I nearly broke my brother because we were doing some Tenacious D songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were doing tribute. So it was my turn to go up and sing. But I did it like Jack Black and did the snorts and everything. And my brother lost it. It was just, it's so much fun.
We would always start up Rock Band and someone would always want to play Eye of the Tiger.
Yes.
Got to.
Always Eye of the Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
My
When I
dad
came
killed it
into
on
this
bass,
world-
though.
Yeah, no, he did. He was doing good.
When I joined Planet Earth, Eye of the Tiger was top of the charts.
Let me see what was the top song in the year I was born.
I remember hearing that song at the beginning of Rocky 3 and my life changed.
This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan.
Was it? Wow. Is
that what it is?
Do it.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah, you're right. And One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Speaking of that song, did either of you watch Free Guy?
No,
with Ryan Reynolds?
No, didn't.
I have
You're
not.
gonna-
I heard
you're
it's
gonna-
really good.
You're going to get some Mariah Carey stuck in your head.
Yeah. All right.
This is
pretty
next
much
to
done on the Star
impossible.
Wars talk. What, to add the Tetris?
I'm trying. There's no fonts that I could find that look like that.
I have faith in you.
Like find Tetris M on Google Images and copy it onto there.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can do that without paying money.
Oh,
Oh, don't spend money on it. Don't
No.
do that.
Yeah, this is all free. That's why I'm trying to find it in there. Ooh, that looks kind of sick. No, well, I don't know.
Dude, you come up with something, man. I'll throw it onto the merch shop as a SusTea special.
That would be sick.
Send all the profits your way.
That well, I'll be happy with a shirt. I'll just buy a shirt for myself.
Nice.
Right on.
There you go. Wake me up.
Joke's on you, Mariah Carey is always stuck in my head.
Yeah, she doesn't. Hey, we're getting towards that time where that Christmas album comes out again. So
I love me some Christmas music. There's like 3 or 4 songs that I cannot stand, but other than that, Christmas.
Let me ask you this. I was thinking about this actually the other day. What are your thoughts on a bunch of us doing some holiday streams?
Oh yeah, I've been planning on it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. Cool.
Yes, Christmas is my thing. For me, the day after Halloween, Christmas starts.
Oh wow!
For me, and everyone is always like, "What about Thanksgiving?" I love Thanksgiving almost as much as Christmas, but Thanksgiving is part of Christmas for me.
Nice. See, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. I love getting together with everybody, and plus the food is just insane.
You and my dad both.
My wife, Halloween is her all-time favorite. This year we accidentally grew pumpkins.
What? How does that happen? What?
So apparently the pumpkins from last year, where they were, some seeds got themselves down into the soil. We didn't know. And we got a small little pumpkin patch.
Nice.
That's funny.
So the kids already picked a couple of them and everything. We have little pumpkins.
That's so cool.
That is awesome.
My dad loves Thanksgiving, and Dad, if you're still in the chat, let me know if this is true, because there's no attachments. Like Christmas, there's so much stuff that goes into making it work, and travel plans, and going to whoever's house and hosting things and going to parties and buying gifts and prepping. Thanksgiving, it is nothing until the day of. You have dinner and do nothing, and that's it.
Thanksgiving Day, after dinner, sitting on the couch, have anything on. I don't care if it's a football game, whatever. That Thanksgiving nap is the most satisfying moment.
You can't get it any other day. You can't buy it.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's just then. And I every year, there's one specific dish, and before my grandmother passed, she gave the recipe to my aunt, who shared it with me. And my grandmother would make every year, and I would only have it once a year. She had this like secret recipe for these candied carrots that were they're unbelievable.
Sounds interesting.
But I purposely would never try to have them ever until Thanksgiving. And then last year, or the year before, it was the year before, my aunt gave me the recipe, and I made the carrots for Thanksgiving, and family came, and we had this big thing. I was so proud. I was like, this is great. We're keeping it going. And then I ate a ton of them because, but
that's awesome.
I love Thanksgiving.
Nerdporial says, I'm trying to figure out what to do for Christmas. I was thinking of maybe a charity stream or something that involves giving. And consider me on board with that. Man. And if you missed the announcement earlier, for Movember, myself, Matt Cave, I said you'd be involved in. You said you'd be involved in some capacity. Mr. Two Star Wars Nerds are doing Movember. Obviously, we all have mustaches already, but we're going to be doing some mustaches on most of our streams and raising money for Give an Hour, which is a charity that provides mental health resources for service members.
Nice.
So that's what I'm going to be doing if Mr. Two Star Wars Nerd sets up another stream fund or something. Then we'll share that around. But there will definitely be some charity streams coming next month for that. Awesome. So if you would like to grow out your mustache as well, or put a mustache on your Nerdporial Man logo, we'd love to have you join us for
mustache.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 things. I finished it. Okay. I want you to again give me honest feedback. And then 2, going back to traditions, if I could bring that up one more time. Me and my cousin Josh, he's a couple years older than me. We have this tradition to.
Oh, the Kool-Aid.
Yes. So my grandma, every year growing up for Christmas, she would make us Kool-Aid. And that was it started becoming our thing, right? And she would put way too much sugar in the Kool-Aid, like a lot of sugar. And
I'll just say it's probably the recommended amount of sugar. that she puts
It
in
was
it,
a
but it's
lot.
still way too much.
It's so much sugar.
Wow.
And she did what it was like a quart or 2 quarts or something like that. Is what she would make. The past like 5 or 6 years, she hasn't been making it just because like we've been making it for ourselves. We made it the exact same way she has always made it, but to the average person, there's so much sugar. It tastes like it hurts your stomach after a couple sips.
Yeah.
But we have been trained throughout the years to withstand it, and so I'm not even kidding when I say we take 2 quarts, right? And we take 2 quarts and we make it, and then we get little tiny little. It's not shot glasses, but they're little plastic cups, right? And then we do little Kool-Aid shots until the whole thing is gone. So we each have a quart of sugar juice in our stomach, and it's tradition.
And you add like however many packets to
Yeah.
each Kool-Aid. It's way too many packets. So it is like ultra concentrated Kool-Aid. And most of those packets are leftovers from when I was a kid in the 90s.
Yeah, they're all like early 2000s packets, and the due date was like 10 years ago, but we still do it just because.
I mean,
No, they don't
it's
have
sugar.
They don't have expiration dates on them
That is,
because there's nothing in them that can go bad.
are you sure?
Yeah, it's just sugar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it's not even sugar in the packets. It's just the dye and the flavoring. There's nothing that can go bad in those Kool-Aid packets. But a lot of
Wow.
those are like old looking designs that
Okay,
are from like
here's-
20 years ago or something.
Here's my Matt Cave. And again, I know you already know, but give me your honest feedback and let me know if you want me to change anything.
Sick.
That's the closest thing I could find to any type
I
of video
think-
game font.
I think between the two, I like the plain more
You like the plain more? Okay, let me spring.
personally. Yeah.
It has it. We're giving it like something that like there's like some action going on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're doing something.
That's
Yeah, that
cool.
plain one's pretty cool.
I'll send them over to you, Matt Cave, and you can do whatever you want with them.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
No worries.
That's
dude.
cool.
That's sick. I was spending so much time on just trying to figure out that like banner logo and everything to
Mhm.
figure out what I was sitting there using the site that I was using on it, like rearranging things all over the place, changing fonts and sizes and everything. And I found a bunch of fonts that I would have loved to use, but you had to pay like a subscription thing to this place to get it. I was like, come on now.
Yeah.
It's like, but man, I had fun though doing that. I like creating stuff for the channel and trying to make it my own and customize this because that's the toughest thing to do with all of this. Oh, there's a logo.
There it is.
Oh, that's pretty sick. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. Like I think it gets the retro feel, but it also kind of like if you like squint, you're almost got like a Batman sort of thing going on to it. With the, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had fun making that, but it actually got a little frustrating at points where I was just like, I can't get this. Mando Mike, what's up? You know, Nerdporial is saying, what about Pac-Man on the screen? I actually have a Pac-Man font. And I was like, I started trying to use it, and I was like, it's kind of like you can't even read it, sort of like
Yeah.
it's so Pac-Man.
You can read Pac-Man. That's about it.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that, Nerdporial. But those are all, unless you want like none
I'm
of
sure they're
none
all
of the
copyrighted images.
none of them are free. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where it gets tricky. That's cool, man.
Nice. Well, anything else you guys want to touch on with Disney? I mean, it's kind of an old topic talking about Disney, but some stuff I wanted to touch on, especially growing up basically in Disneyland.
I mean, you haven't seen Clone Wars all the way through, have you, Susan?
No, that's why actually just before this stream on the Star Wars Guys channel, me, him, Michael, and Matt Cave, we're going through the Clone Wars and each week doing, I think he's calling them Animation Fridays.
Yep.
Where we're going through the Clone Wars, and I don't know how many episodes we'll watch during the week, like 10 or something.
Yeah, something.
And we'll we'll do a weekly review of the episodes we watched, and we're going through release order. So I'm sure you, with your knowledge of Clone Wars, would be more than welcome to join us for the discussion some of the weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, man.
Definitely
It's
interested.
fun.
I've
Let's see, I already
ran into
said
Clone Wars like
hey.
3 times total. So
We've got Daryl. Howdy. That video was so funny. The Dave party something or whatever. I want to know the story behind that. I don't know any context. I was like, I didn't ask for this. Thank you.
Just go back to Maria Tiantelli's stream from earlier and just look for.
Yeah, I don't know what was up.
Just look
about
for
that. I heard you
Daryl's.
guys mention it.
Don't worry, it pops up on screen. Just pull that up. You'll find it in the replay.
Okay. Disney's going to be around for a long time. That's a fact. Will people love it as they grow up is the question. Yeah, that is the question. I know a lot of the cartoon shows or movies that they've come out with in the last few years, I haven't, first off, been interested in watching them. But from just what I can see in the commercials for them, it doesn't seem like something I would want my kids to watch. To grow up on, at least, we grew up on Lion King, for example.
Yeah. Like, there's still some of the stuff out there with the classic characters. There's like the Mickey Mouse Club stuff. There's I think they just redid Chippendale.
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, the Night Sisters arc. Yeah, that's gonna be really good.
It was done with the Reface app. It's awesome. It was like that meme. I've been looking at this for 5 hours now.
It's beautiful. Tom Haverford.
Pretty fantastic.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Disney's not going anywhere, man. It's gonna outlive all of us. Hopefully it gets back at some point to being that wholesome kind of get your family together and enjoy something together style back to what it used to be. Without pushing messages, just let the audience experience it for themselves, and that's what you should do with any type of medium.
Yeah. I was thinking, because there's not a whole lot I can do with my background, I think I mentioned that on Monday, of green screening and putting this as the background, if you guys can see that.
Nice.
So that is Korriban.
Do you have a green screen?
No, but neon green poster board is cheap and works the same way.
Absolutely. The biggest thing about using a green screen is that the tone of the green
has to remain the same. Yeah.
And you want to make sure it's lit well. And then honestly, just the green screen built-in feature. One of us. The built-in green screen feature in both StreamYard and Streamlabs works really well. Oh, Mike Wazowski.
It's awesome.
But it's good. I have a cheap green screen that I've only used once for this channel.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it in the past for stuff, but it actually worked. I don't think it's just really about lighting it well. You could even just use a green tarp, in all honesty.
And that's why I was just gonna run to Hobby Lobby and get some like flat green poster board.
Yeah. Like
a lime green poster board, and just get enough squares to cover whatever my background is. And then, like I was showing, have Korriban in the background.
Yeah.
At least for now, until I can get something more professional looking, because I'm kind of over the sitting at the dining room table. And I'll probably get some like black foam or something to lay across the table here, so you don't see the wood. It'll look a little bit better.
Artifacts.
Ooh, I need a holocron.
Yeah, dude, how cool is Korriban? Look at that.
It's dope.
When I saw Korriban back in KOTOR and then in like Jedi Academy and stuff, I was like, I want to know more about all of this.
It's like it's a world we never saw before.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole deal with the Sith Academy is such a cool concept.
Yeah. It's good
Tay, I
stuff,
keep
man.
telling you to play KOTOR, and you keep not playing it.
Yes. I have played a different version. I think it's just
You
called
played
Old
SWTOR.
Republic. Okay.
Yeah,
The
Star Wars:
online
Old
one?
Republic.
Yeah, that
yeah,
was the
that one.
MMO. Yep.
Yeah, I played that one. But there was only so far you could, get without paying money. So
Definitely do.
I have a few
KOTOR.
characters on there. Yeah, original KOTOR. The Old Republic MMO takes place like a couple hundred years or something after KOTOR. Like it's still Old Republic land, but it's like generations ahead. It's good. I have a couple of characters on that game actually.
Yeah, and I've told you before, you don't play it for the gameplay, like the battle mechanics, because it's turn-based. You play it for the story, and the story is top-notch.
Yeah.
It
If
is
you ever play it, I
amazing.
recommend going immediately in the settings and all of the pause options, just turn them off.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
You're talking about when
flows.
it senses an enemy and it pauses.
Yeah, when it stops the game, I turn all of that off so that it flows as smooth as possible.
Ooh,
Nice. That's
Again,
sick looking.
this is just for fun. I know you already have your own logo, so like.
yeah. Send it my way though.
Dude,
Okay,
that would be awesome, like
anything
a
different about
coaster
it?
or a mouse pad.
You know what?
Mouse pad,
These
I can
designs
see.
you're doing would be dope on some merch.
Yeah,
Because my
man,
logo is cool and all, but like some alternate pieces of merchandise.
I mean, hit me up. These take like 5 seconds.
Okay. And Teespring has a pretty good variety of different
yeah.
merch items you can put it on. So that would be dope. Definitely
Again,
send
these
it
are
my
all
way.
very similar because there's certain templates that I can just build it off of, and it takes a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot quicker, which is why they all look pretty similar. But
Sick. That's fun stuff, man.
Yeah. Definitely play KOTOR. Also, Matt Cave, I don't know if you noticed any difference. I raised up my webcam a good 6 inches tonight.
Nice.
I don't know if
it
the
looks
angle
really
makes
good.
a difference.
It's not
Does
looking
it?
from below. It's looking
Okay,
straight
so
on.
it-
Which
so
is
Yeah,
is
you
looking
have
better.
like a straight on shot.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
it looks
So
good.
when I do switch to the DSLR, I was going to raise it up anyway, but I just stuck the. I got my like computer, and then I got a laptop, and the webcam is on the laptop, but then the laptop is now on a box. So, but I'm glad that the angle is making it look better.
Yeah, it looks good.
Because I kept getting frustrated, like I couldn't see any of the background posters, or like my head was too high, and you couldn't see any of the desk. But I'm glad that the angle looks a little better.
Yeah, man.
What's up, Black Dragon?
Dragon.
Glad to see you
Everest
here.
Productions here.
And
Crit.
Everest, howdy. Lord Crit, my 500th subscriber. I'm coming up on 600 now.
Dude, you're like so close.
I am at
Let me refresh.
597.
597. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
590. I was at 598 like an hour ago. I lose viewers or subscribers so often.
That's what's happening to me too. I lose one or two here and there, and then sometimes it's a group, and then
Which I'm gonna expect that for a while, because I had a good 400 something when I started making Star Wars content. It was 474, I think it was.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few people that subscribed for reasons other than a galaxy far, far away. So I would imagine a bunch of people are still going to continue to fall off for a while. But
I actually started because I tend to make long videos just because I get into it, but I want to start making some shorter stuff, some quick to consume sort of things, like the one I posted earlier today about my Sega CD. I was just, that was a quick 2.5 minute, whatever. And I was like, I want to do some more shorter things where it kind of just one quick topic, just so I can just kind of fill in my content here and there.
SusTea, nice file name.
Thank you. It's Coffee on Korriban. Thank you.
That's why I usually put C on K.
Yes. Also,
boy.
Matt Cave, your banner for your YouTube looks awesome.
Thanks, man.
That looks so awesome. Check that out.
I just pulled up Discord. So
There you
on there.
go.
Yeah,
Also,
those are sick looking.
There you go.
So
Also,
when-
Susan,
SusTea, when are you going to start your YouTube channel?
That's a great question because
Because I know you're a Twitch streamer.
have streamed on Twitch and I hit affiliate, but I mean, it was just a lot of work and I wasn't really getting any. To be fair, I got like 12 or 15 subs and like $80, which was a nice little
Nice.
handout, which was nice. But I only do like gaming stuff, so I don't know how I would transition to different
It's the
stuff.
same deal. You can set it up to where you stream. It goes both onto YouTube and Twitch.
Right.
And then just
streamers
whoever's
will do that.
watch, even if you have 0 viewers on YouTube and you're still doing your Twitch stuff, but whoever wants to subscribe on the YouTube side of things, like I'm not on Twitch at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I would watch if you were doing your streams and it was going through YouTube as well.
Right.
So
yeah.
Black Dragon says, heard you guys were busy on Paul's channel earlier. Yes, we were doing Animation Fridays, which we're going through the Clone Wars series. That's what we were doing. It's going to be a weekly thing.
Yeah, it's fun times, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially because I'm watching all this stuff for the first time, most of it.
Yeah, I got to learn. I got to learn more about Twitch. I don't understand it yet. Like I was watching one of Tron's streams.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, how do I subscribe to it?" I was like, "Oh, I got to do a follow." But then it was like, you only follow for, it's like temporary or something. Like I don't know what it was. It was like you have to buy, or you get these coins or something. I don't understand how.
We've lost a command post.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the spammers. Yeah, we were losing command posts.
I had them at the beginning of the stream. I'm glad they haven't come back yet, but of course they're going to show up in 20 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, Matt Cave, the Twitch system is a little confusing to understand at first. You got follow, which is basically YouTube's subscribe. It's like the same thing. And then subscribe is pay money per month just to support them, or sometimes you'll get different badges out of it, or like a sticker. Like every time someone would subscribe to me, it would pop up on the screen and do all that kind of stuff.
So like subscribe over there is more like memberships on YouTube.
Exactly.
Ah, yep. Okay. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, I don't know anything about Twitch, and it took me a little while to figure out a Discord.
Yeah. I have a Twitch handle. I just have never done anything on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm got my hands full with YouTube. I'll just stick to this. I don't game at all, really. So, and if I did play, Lego Star Wars or some original PlayStation 2 game, it'd probably just be here on YouTube.
There you go.
So,
does your PS2 have the Ethernet stuff?
I'm sure it does. It's the Slim. So
okay, yeah, that's because we could play online, dude.
I've never done PS2 Ethernet. I've only played offline. Ever,
I used to play so much SOCOM.
Yeah, we'll do something. We'll get that sorted. So I got my capture card should be coming in Tuesday.
Nice.
So,
okay, to answer your
we'll
question,
see how much.
I have no clue. But I did find some of these.
Ooh, is that MX for State?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
That is the best game because you use the cheat code.
Good.
Yeah, you use the cheat code and you unlock everything.
That's one of the best Call of Duty games right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Call of Duty 3.
Yeah, that was one of the best.
That one is great. What else here we got? Test Drive Off Road.
Such a good game. Yeah. Such a good game.
Oh, do you have Midnight Club? That was
God of
War.
War.
Oh, God of War 2. Yeah, buddy.
Daxter, the original.
Precursor
so
Legacy.
Good. So
good.
Green
Lantern. We're just about to wrap it up, but nice to see you here.
We also have a bunch of other ones. But...
That's so funny.
PS2 is a great system. Love it.
Yeah, we'll figure something to play on Ethernet. PS2.
Yeah, man.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to come by and make a fun night out of this. And,
yeah, dude, I appreciate you letting me pop in. It's always a fun
time. Everyone in the chat, appreciate you guys being here, and I hope to see you on Monday during the Monday night debrief. I'm going to submit a clip to Echo Base Network of your rubber segment where you were explaining rubber. That should be fun.
Yeah. People are going to be like, what?
I was telling my my coworker the other day, I'm like, you ever heard of a movie called Rubber? And he's like, is that dumb movie where the tire blows people's heads off?
Mhm.
Like,
That's
yeah.
the one.
You're like,
I
dumb
haven't seen it,
movie?
but-
Excuse me?
That's awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah.
everyone watching, thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out the show tonight. Hope you smiled at least once or laughed or learned something. But if you've made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate your time. And the Forces family, that's not my slogan, but it's so true. And Matt Cave, why don't you give your slogan as well?
Oh, throwing it in there again?
Yeah, just
All
throw
right.
it in there.
Well, this is the Matt Cave saying, remember, keep retro gaming alive, because one day your games will be retro too.
That's brilliant. SusTea,
Amazing.
anything to add?
No, I don't have one of those yet. So, yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming by tonight, and we will see you wherever we happen to see you in the galaxy.